Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Flex and Reflex Sunday Sit Down. I'm sitting out here this morning having some breakfast and the sun is shining through here. It's really lovely because it's autumn here in Australia, so it gets quite cold where I am in Melbourne, but today it's quite lovely. So let's dive into some questions. How do you recommend adjusting nutrition and training plans for individuals with varying body types or metabolic profiles? Well, good question. I think I like to really simplify everything when I'm working with people, and I think many of us try and overcomplicate what it is that our situation and where we're trying to get to, and that you've got to come up with some really scientific complex plan to manage what you are, and people say, oh well, I can't do that because I'm this, that or the other. What I find with my clients is, because of the principles that I am instilling with clients, so it's like the healthy lifestyle principles. So think about your strength training, your cardio training, getting supplementation right, getting the nutrition right, and getting them in a consistent pattern with that, getting them to sleep better and that kind of stuff. Sorry about the background noise. Somebody's doing some yard work. Given that most people don't do those things consistently, and then they make up a complex story about why they're not able to do certain things, we don't really have a good baseline as to, well what works and what doesn't work. Now, yeah, let's put aside for a moment those things that it might be, they might be celiac, they might have a variance in tolerances and everything, and I address those specifically in the meal plans to make sure that we're supporting someone in that position. So if somebody's celiac, I'm not going to give them a heap of gluten. We exclude gluten from their plan because that's not going to make them feel good, and it's not going to be good for their health. So putting those things to one side, I find that most people generally haven't done the strength training or the right type of strength training to support them. So honestly, it's a little bit of like, okay, well, let's go to step one first and get people following some healthy lifestyle habits before we then move to step two, etc., etc. And so we modify over time. So for me, it doesn't matter who I'm working with. It's like, what are the fundamentals, the foundational things that we need to get right first? Let's get those happening for a while so that we can see. And it's usually, well, some things you can know within a week, for instance, if it's not good for someone, whether that be the training and it's joint pain and that kind of stuff, or whether it's certain types of foods where they're excessively bloated or something like that. But having said that, let's just say that when I've worked with clients before that eat a lot of processed food, and then we introduce say your 5 to 7 serves of vegetables a day, that's a massive hit to someone's digestive system. So I do find that sometimes for the first 3 days or so, when somebody's adjusting from hardly any veggies to a larger quantity of vegetables, they can feel a little bit bloated as their digestive system is starting to work itself out. And normally, worst case there, I suggest that somebody gets a daily probiotic, and that helps move things along. But that's what I would do to start with. We need to make sure the foundation is right first. So don't overcomplicate things. Work with somebody that knows exactly what they're doing in terms of their strength training and a holistic lifestyle plan, as well as the nutrition, and you'll be on the right pathway there. So I hope that gives you some background. Just don't overcomplicate it. What are some practical strategies for overcoming common barriers to consistency in exercise, e.g. lack of time, energy, or access to equipment? And so I think one of the things that really annoys me, I ask people on my podcast, what's your pet peeve? And I always tell them that mine is excuses. People just come up with excuses, because we all have the same amount of time, and you have somebody that is able to achieve phenomenal results and do a phenomenal amount of work in the same 24 hours as somebody else that's hardly doing anything. So for me, it comes down to having a look at, coming back to the very beginning and saying, well, what is it that you want to achieve? What is it for your overall health and wellness goals? So for instance, if we the reason that's important, let's say that you take somebody that's in their 60s, and we give them a program or set the expectation they're going to be training for 4 to 5 hours a day, 6 days a week in the gym to get them on stage to compete in a bodybuilding competition. Now, that may be okay for some, but for most, that's not going to be right. And that may be not important to the person. So we need to work out, or they need to work out, what is it that you really want to achieve for your health and wellness? And for most people, it's around, they want the aesthetics of them, they want to look better. But certainly as we get older, it can be about strength, it can be about pain reduction, it can be about energy, it can be about focus and just overall health and wellness. They want to be healthy and well and live a happy, strong, successful type of existence. So for me, it's about coming back to, so what is it that you want? And so then it's, let's just take your strength training, for instance. So I work on 3 principles, 3 workouts a day for a day. Good luck. 3 workouts a week for most of my clients, and that's really sustainable. Now, we have busy lifestyles, so like myself, I do 2 through the week and 1 on the weekend. Or if I do a 4-day program, it's 2 through the week and 2 on the weekend, so a Saturday and a Sunday. And then to start with, it's really just getting people into a flow. So if time is your biggest issue, then I say, well, let's work on no more than a half-hour workout. Let's say that you're going to the gym, no more than a half-hour workout. The other part of the question was, if you don't have energy or access to equipment, that's fine. All the programs that I normally start people off with at home is working with whatever equipment that they have got. So if they've got none, it's all body-weighted exercise, and the program lasts 10 minutes, maybe 7. Okay, because I want to get people into a routine of, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or the weekend, whatever, 10 minutes, get up in the morning, get it done, move on. And then that progresses to a maximum at home of probably 20 to 30 minutes. And because most people are, they're in their own home and they're not motivated to do a really long workout. So I've said, okay, here's an intense 90-minute workout. Hardly anyone's going to do that. So we want to get them into a healthy habit, starting to feel good about themselves. They start to see some results. We start to attach that to food and everything as well, that, okay, they've done some exercise, they go and eat healthier, they feel better, they get some more results, they're happy to go to that next stage, etc., etc. So I think it's, and that, all that comes back to, well, why is it important to me? Why are you getting started? What are you aiming for? And then if you know that those simple steps will give you the outcome that you want, then you just do it. But the reason that you stop and the reason you make excuses is because you haven't made the why big enough. Why I want to do this. And so that's where the work is. And most people aren't prepared to sit down and type away or write away around what it is that's the reasons that is really important for them to do that. So for me, that's where most of people need to do the work. And this is why the majority of people, this is what happens in my country here, they go and join a gym around the summer sort of time. It generally lasts for about 12 weeks, then they don't go at all. And then for whatever reason, now why would you stop? I've been doing it for 36 years. I will never stop, never. Why? Because my why is so big around what my training, my lifestyle does for me. So I will never ever stop. So if you're flip-flopping, not sure whether you should start, once I started in 1988, it was like, I'm never ever going to stop this. There are so many benefits and so much joy that it brings me. So I would never ever stop. So work on your why, and that will really help you. Okay, how do you navigate social situations or events where unhealthy food options are prevalent while staying on track with your nutrition goal? So obviously this happens a lot, particularly in, I just mentioned summer, particularly in summer here, because there's a lot of barbecuing and that kind of stuff, and you go there and there's people normally have sausages on the barbecue, so they're pretty unhealthy, high in fat mostly. The salads, and there's lots of bread, and all types of things that are often calorie time bombs. Even though they might be a salad, it's a potato salad that's dripping in mayonnaise and other bits and pieces and stuff, and so they're not necessarily awesome. You go to kids parties and stuff, and it's just a mountain of just sugar and fats and stuff. So here's the way that I suggest to do it. First of all, work out, well, what time of the day is it going to be? So does it revolve, most of it, the events revolve around a meal time? Okay, so it's like it's a barbecue lunch, or it's a birthday lunch or something like that, or it's a birthday party at night and it's dining out at a particular place, or it's a pizza night or something like that. So given that, what I would normally do, let's just say that it's a lunch, and what I would do is say, okay, well, this is the type of event, this is where I'm traveling to, this is how long it's going to take to get there, like if it's local, or if I've got to travel, like an hour or so away, how long will the event kind of last, when can I get my next meal, etc., etc. So what I would normally do is I would eat before I go. That's the bottom line. It might sound socially awkward. I would normally eat before I go. The only exception is a wedding, right? Even then, I might have snacks and stuff before I go, because the wedding can, the reception could be pushed way out and so forth. But for a wedding, it's like I say, okay, that's the day where I'm just going to have whatever it is that's presented, because I know how much it costs to put on a wedding and those meals, and to be respectful and so forth. So I will normally do that at a wedding. But otherwise, where you have the ability to be in control of what it is that you order, it's not a set menu and that kind of stuff, then I would normally have, say, my lunch beforehand, or if you need to have lunch there, I would have, say, something smaller. And then when I went there for the lunch, I would order, say, let's just say, we call it an entree size here. So rather than a main meal, I'd order a smaller type of meal. Now, it can feel a little bit weird to start with, because, I've been living this way for 36 years now, and everybody used to say, oh, why are you eating that, or why are you not eating that, or why are you not having cake, or whatever. It's like, I just don't feel like it. I just, people get to know that you live more of a healthier existence than most. I just say no to those things, and people try and ram it down your throat and stuff. Say, no, it's okay. I know what I'm doing. So there can be that social pressure. So I tend to manage my meals around that. And then if it's really late, for instance, I might take a snack or something with me for that trip home. That might be it might be a protein bar, it might be some fruit, or something like that. Just so I can live it on my terms. And I just learned to say no. I don't drink alcohol or anything like that, so that's easy. I don't drink soft drink, sodas, fruit juices, that kind of stuff. I just don't have that kind of stuff. So it's easy for me to just say no. If it was, say, a kid's birthday party, there's really nothing there that it's like, oh man, there's all this chocolate and cake and stuff, I want to eat that. I'm not like that, but I get that it's an issue for people. Stand further away from the tables, just don't go there. But you're not going to go there if you fill up more on the healthier foods that you want to eat before you go to these events, and then maybe have a smaller amount or nothing when you go there, if you can do that awkwardly. I would not say go to a wedding and eat nothing because you said, no, I've had my chicken breast and broccoli and rice before I came, I'm not hungry, thanks. I wouldn't do that at a wedding, because that's not appropriate, or a work function or something can be a little bit awkward as well. So just I'd have something before, shrink the meal that I'm having, make a different choice, etc. like that. All right, 2 more questions. How do you incorporate variety and excitement into your workouts to prevent boredom and maintain enthusiasm for fitness over the long term? Yeah, so good question. I think one of the challenges is, like I said before, most people join a gym, last for a few weeks, and then they come back again next summer. Most people don't have a plan. Most people don't know how to structure a right plan and so forth. And I think one of the big problems is that people go into gym and say, okay, what am I going to do today? What will I do today? What will I do next week? They train with someone, say, I hear the conversations. Yeah, so what do you want to train today? So you should know before you're even there, which says to me, all right, you don't have a structure for your food, you don't have a structure for your training, therefore you'll probably always remain this way until you get sick of it, you just stop coming to the gym. So I think it comes back to what I said before about your why. You've got to think about, okay, let's use a house, for example. Let's just say you want this magnificent house. You want it to be like 50 squares, and you want to have a swimming pool, you want to have a tennis court, you want to have a beautifully landscaped garden, you want to have beautiful fine fittings in tapware and tiles and all that kind of stuff. And you go to all this detail to get all that right. and you just start building, and you get it all done, and you say, wow, this looks amazing. But then you forgot to put the slab in. So here in Australia, most of our buildings have to go on concrete slabs, and you didn't really worry about doing the foundations. What's going to happen to the house? Well, it might look good for a while, but then it's going to fall down because you didn't get the foundations right. This is very much like people with their health and wellness. If you don't get started the right way, if you don't really understand, well, what are you searching for? It's the same with a lot of our life goals. It's like, what do you want? Name what it is that you want. What do you want to achieve in your health and wellness? Be very, very articulate about it and why you want to achieve it. And then my suggestion is, honestly, go see someone like me, like a coach that you feel like you can work with, somebody who has a proven track record, to then map out what does that program look like for you. And then when you do that, you'll find that the right person will break the program up into, like, say, 12-week training blocks, 3-4-week training blocks, and then you'll have your workouts broken up each week. You'll have some goals for each week, and then the different exercise that may move from one month to the next month, etc. One workout to the next workout. You're tracking what it is that you're doing, so you're creating a lot of momentum and also excitement because you've got goals for each week. So what's the key thing that's missing for most people? They don't set any goals around their health, their fitness, and their excitement levels, if you like, and they tend to base it on a couple of metrics, and weight is normally the biggest one that people guided on. And so it's a real problem, right? It's a real problem. So you've got to go back to the basics. And then once you understand what you're headed towards, it makes it easier for me to have a conversation with people to say, well, okay, this is how we can keep it exciting. I mean, otherwise, what people tend to do is say, all right, well, I'll do... So here at the moment, there's a bit of a buzz around heated or hot Pilates, right? So they were doing hot yoga here, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago. People were talking about it a lot, and for me, I normally find it's people that are just looking to jump on that next thing and try it and whatever, and good luck to them. But like your CrossFit, for instance. I'm not a CrossFit fan. CrossFit, like every single day you could be doing something different with if you're doing their workouts of the day and that kind of stuff. And that might really work for some people because it's like there's lots of change and that kind of stuff. For me, I find that doesn't work for most people's bodies. And again, it just comes back to what are you really aiming for to then build that structure around it. And look, for me, like all my strength training is done inside. Do I like getting outside? Yeah. Do I don't want to do my strength training outside? No, I don't. But for some people, it's important. So, okay, you find like you in your backyard here and you do some work here, or you go to a local park and use some of their equipment, do a workout there. Where for me, getting out in nature is going for my walks and doing that kind of stuff. And for me, that keeps it interesting for me enough to do my workouts. And then when I find that I'm starting to get, say, a little bit tired or bored or unnecessarily fatigued from a workout, I'm like, okay, it's time for me to take a week off. And that's normally around the 12-week mark. And I make sure that, okay, I have a week off where I do nothing except I keep eating well and going for my walks and stuff, but I don't do any strength training. And then I get back in just doing some different workouts on the week next, and then I get back onto my program again. So the biggest problem is that most people don't have that program that's going to say step 1, 2, 3, 4 to get them to that next point. It's just like they're just playing around with different stuff, and of course you're going to get bored with that. So I think finding somebody that you can work with that's going to give you a specific plan to achieve what you want to achieve, and you can see that there are goals, milestones, because there should be things that you're achieving for every single workout, every time you get into the gym, and you know what it is, you're tracking everything, you're sending it to your coach, you're getting some feedback so that you know whether you're progressing or not. So yeah, and that's how I would answer that one. All right, so the last question's around emotional eating. As it's getting colder here in Melbourne, how do you address the issue of emotional eating? Well, it's a big problem for a lot of people. I think to some extent we're all kind of emotional eaters on some level. I mean, we get hungry, we get hangry, if you like, and it's like, give me some food. And so you you'll tend to go for whatever is the quickest, easiest, nearest thing to you. So the thing that I hear from people is, oh, I'm now, because it's really cold, I can't eat, I don't know, a wrap or a salad or something like that for lunch. I need something like it, and people normally say, I want a soup or something like that. I have a problem with soups in terms of they're normally very low in protein, and that just don't do it for me. So if people want to do that, I say, okay, well, preferably make it yourself, put heaps of veggies in there, and then add some protein to it as well, so that you can get, make it a balanced type of meal. For me, like I will have all year round, I pretty much eat the same style of eating. So I mean, I can eat a salad at any stage, but I don't eat a lot of salads. I tend to eat like say stir frying vegetables for lunch. I might do the same for dinner or something else for dinner. So they're normally cooked types of meals. The key where, pardon me, people get it maybe slightly wrong is they have too much. So they feel like, well, because it's cold, I can eat more. And often they will eat just a higher calorie dish, for instance. So I don't know, so maybe it might be a curry or something like that. Or, they're having a bigger serve of rice. They're having, like there's just more calories in, say it's a curry made with coconut milk, ghee and so forth. It's like, wow, there's a lot of calories in that. So they might have that more often than they normally would if it was summer. So they just got naturally a higher level of calories in it, but they also may increase the portion size of that as well. And then they're doing that for lunch maybe the next day as well. So the calorie profile for the whole week is just increasing a little bit more with each meal. So there's nothing wrong with doing it in terms of having your hot meals and stuff, but it depends, I suppose, what you consider to be comfort food. And you've always got to come back to, well, okay, I can have my heated food, but is it nutritionally balanced? Am I getting protein in there? And this is one of the problems people, if they just eat, I don't know, say toast, for instance, and it gets to late at night and they just feel like, toast and peanut butter or something like that. It's like, well, that's just your fats and your high energy carbs. It's got very little protein in it. It's got it's got no plant-based food in it. So if we change some of those elements and say, well, let's focus on always getting the protein in, let's try and keep it low in fat and control your portion, like get some plant-based food in there as well and just control the portion. So during these colder months, people's portions just get bigger and bigger, because I hear it all the time from my clients. And so I have conversations with them about some strategies, like I've just mentioned, to try and just be mindful of portion size, ingredients, and just not overdoing it, right? Allowing your tummy to sort of catch up. And don't just sit on the couch and watch TV. Do some housework. Do some self-study. Do a little bit of exercise. Do some stretching. Do something else that is going to distract you from just thinking it's cold, I need to eat food. Because it's another thing when the process that our bodies go through while we eat, we warm up. So people say, oh, well, I'm cold, so I'll eat, and so I'll warm up. So, okay, what if we just move around more and eat a few less calories and be more mindful of the food that we're eating? For me personally, winter is one of the most focused times of the year for me. Not sure why, it just is. And that means that I'm just really, really focused on connecting back with my goals and what it is that I'm eating, my portions, etc., so you can remain on track all year round. Because we don't want it to be a seasonal thing. And I guess the other thing would be about identifying, is there a pattern in your emotional behavior and when it is that you're going to food? Maybe it's, you're upset around certain things, whatever. Are there certain foods that trigger you to be emotionally eating? Don't get those in the house, or don't put them at eye level in the pantry. And because the temptation is hard, right? If you're having a low moment and you're really tired, whatever, if there's donuts there or a bag of chips or whatever, then you're probably going to go for them. And I could do the same thing. I just make sure I don't get the donuts in the house, don't get the chips in the house, or if I do for my daughter, then they're at above my eye level, so I don't just walk in and say, oh yeah, there they are right there, I'm going to take them. I'm just as human as anyone else, but I connect back to why I'm doing it, and that really helps helps to keep a nice, healthy, balanced lifestyle. This is the rest of your life type stuff. It's not just about, okay, what can we do today? It's like, what can we do today for the rest of your life? All right, so thanks for your questions today, everybody. Have a great Sunday. I'll see you next week.